This meeting is being recorded.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the April 21st, 2022 meeting of the Kingston Local Development Corporation. We are here virtually today and being recorded, and will be posted on the City of Kingston's YouTube channel shortly after the meeting. We are joined today by a few of our board members. I'm just going to read who I see. We've got Tony Marmo, Hayes Clement, Andy Turco-Levin, Lenny Luizzo, B.A. Feeney, and then we had Glenn Fitzgerald. We just lost Glenn, so hopefully he'll be back. We're also joined by our Common Council liaison, Barbara Hill, and our executive director, Mandy Bruck, who will be listening in, but may not be able to participate as fully as normal, as she's got another engagement this morning. So we'll get started. Hopefully Glenn will be able to rejoin us when he gets his computer issues worked out there. But we do have a quorum at this time, which is great. So thank you all for joining. So we do have just a few business items today. We won't have a very long meeting, but as we are trying to do to get back on, we're going to be meeting now every other month, which has been working out well. So the first thing I'd like to do is be able to ask for a motion to be able to approve the video recording as our minutes from the February 17th, 2022 meeting. And so can I have a motion to approve that? Hayes, and then a second with Tony. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, excellent. Well, thank you for that. Council Redder does not have any updates for us today related to any of the work that he's working on. And so one, he's not joining us, and two, we don't have any substantive updates from him to be able to share. We do have a treasurer's report that BA was kind enough to prepare for us and should have sent out to everyone. So hopefully everyone had a chance to have a look, but BA can go over a quick review of that if you don't mind.
No, that would be fine. Good morning, everyone. Hopefully everyone is in receipt of the notes that I had sent out on Thursday. It is kind of quiet, which is a very good thing at the moment. But just to give you an idea, we do have 13 loans that are currently outstanding, principal balance at $550,000. 12 of them are paying as agreed. We do continue to have the one that remains an ongoing issue that George is working through. Excuse me, that would be DFC. Just a couple of quick updates from the last time we met. I had brought to everyone's attention, we had two items that were listed as delinquent. Both of them are current. The Trolley Museum actually is now paid off. That was one, and that was as much a communication issue with the management down in the Trolley Museum. Mandy was able to reach out and connect with the right people. So since we did meet last in February, check has been received, everything was brought current, and that note is now closed out. Bank balance information I had provided to you, and as you can see, it's pretty consistent running from quarter to quarter to quarter. There haven't been a lot of changes. The last major entry that we had on any of the bank accounts was the payoff of the HUD note, and that was done in the summer of 2021. But as I said, bank balances running consistent, generally consistent from quarter to quarter to quarter. You do have a list that I had provided, or Mandy had shared with us, from the itemization list of each and all of our borrowers. It does give you an update from the date of note, what the original amount was, when the notes will actually mature, and what their balances are as of the end of the first quarter. So if you could, just to take a note of that. Obviously, we do have several of the COVID type loans that we had done last year. Those are paying. We have two of them that are actually paid off, but they are paying as agreed. On the income side, revenue from operations in the first quarter slightly less than it was in years past, although that's not necessarily a bad thing because it does reflect the success of our borrowers, making ongoing principal payments, reduction, balances being reduced or paid off, as well as interest paid on the notes that are outstanding. So from the borrower standpoint, that is positive. Just be aware, obviously, that income figure will continue to reduce as those balances on the loans are paid down and those borrowers pay out. As mentioned before, we do have funds available to loan. I know now is somewhat up in the air in many different areas in the economy, but we do have a considerable amount of money that is available for borrowers. We are awaiting the lease payment coming in from Arconic. That is actually due on May 1 for the business park. That will be reflected in the second quarter report and should show us in a more positive note. On my summary sheet, you'll see revenue to date, year to date at $8,700, expenses to date at $38,000, obviously showing us in the negative. But again, as I mentioned, we do have the payment coming in, the annual lease payment from Arconic. That has been billed with a May 1 due. Mandy sent a reminder out to them about a week ago. So anticipate that being received within the next 30, perhaps 45 days. Items within the income statement, as mentioned the last time we met, the entry for the compensation portion of the executive director, that is the largest item. That is under the salary and wages category. We spoke of that in February. Insurance premiums remain in line, slight uptick from prior years. And expenses at the end of the first quarter, again, also consistent with prior years, except there is an uptick in the utility lines for the business park. That is related to the power costs for that property. And like each and everybody is seeing in their own personal Central Hudson bill, it's gone up considerably. So that is anticipated to continue to climb. So again, something just to be aware of. Net income, it is currently reflected as a negative, although as I mentioned, we are waiting for an income source or income line item coming in from Arconic, which will put us back into the positive. Anticipate that in the May timeframe, perhaps beginning of June at the latest, but it will put us back on a much more positive look. 2022, just a couple of just items that we do have still outstanding. We have one payment left to the New York State Department of Transportation, and that was to get the road up running into the business park. We had made the last full payment in 2021. We have a remaining balance of approximately $19,600, and that'll be paid out later in the summer, and that should close out that bill for the DOT. As you remember, last year, the Kingston Local Development Corp had paid out any of the balance remaining owed to HUD. So we saved ourselves approximately $100,000 plus interest there. With the payment to New York State, that should save an annual payment of approximately $27,500. So again, we will be able to pay out our bank balances a little bit by not having those two expenses going out on an annual basis. The business park, and just to give you a quick quarterly update, first quarter, as I mentioned, there is no rental income at this point. It is due on May 1. So the second quarter report will reflect that payment. Insurance remains consistent at the business park. The utility line, as I mentioned earlier, is up, and that's probably up about 25% or so. So that's a fairly large number. And again, just something to watch, to be aware, although truly we have no control over that. Well, one thing I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention just going forward, there is a line item on the business park profit and loss statement for marketing for the business park. And again, that really will dovetail into what the larger overall future plan for the park is. How are we marketing that? Are we getting the best bang for our buck? Obviously, there hasn't been a lot of efforts going on in the last couple of months with the marketing. So, as I said, just something to be aware of. It is an ongoing monthly and quarterly expense that we have for that. On the grand scheme of things, it's not large, but as the KLVC looks to decide what to do in the future with the park property, that should be a line item to take a look at. That really is it. As I said, it's a fairly straight up report. There haven't been a whole lot of changes. If anybody does have any questions, I'll try and answer them now. Please, yes.
BA, what's the outstanding balance on those COVID micro loans?
Here we go. Most of them approximately $5,800, between $5,600 and $5,900. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 remaining out of 9.
And those should all be paid back by when?
It looks like May of 2026.
Oh, they go that far. Wow.
They were all, I believe, 5-year notes. So no, 5-year notes, 6-year notes.
I mean, they were essentially a grant at 1%, right? I mean, that's the city must have just, yeah. That's,
well, it's from the duration, Tony. We had used to do grants, and unfortunately, we were told we could not. So we made very low interest notes.
But
yeah, grant's not a right word, but because the interest rates are so low, it was just basically an interest-free, here's some money to go over the hump of the pandemic, which was a great idea.
As close to that as possible,
yeah. I mean, it's,
so the folks who paid back early, the two just did it on their own and closed it out?
That is correct, yes.
Voluntarily, okay.
Yes, that is correct. We have 2 closed out, and the remainder, if continued on to natural maturity, is May of 26.
But that $50,000 or $60,000 in COVID microloans is not included in the 550 number for the balance on all loans.
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yes, sir, it is. Yes.
Anyone have any other questions for BA?
great job, BA.
Yeah. So I'll ask for a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I'll move it.
Tony, and then Andy would second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Well, again, thank you, BA. Thank you for your work on that.
You're welcome.
So we've got new business item, and then another kind of an update that I wanted to give. So first is the new business item on the agenda is the American Rescue Plan. We've talked about it before, but just a few weeks ago, the Common Council did officially approve the Kingston recovery, or the Kingston Economic Recovery Plan, which is really the city's vision for how we would lay out the spending plan for the 17.3 million. And there's a couple of items in there that I just wanted to mention that that will now be moving forward. The first is program staff to be able to implement the program. So it's one thing to have the money, it's another thing to be able to actually get it doled out to everyone. And so just this past week at the Finance Committee, the committee unanimously endorsed hiring a full-time person who will work for the next 4.5, 5 years to be able to oversee the rollout of that federal funding, to be able to make sure that it's done in accordance with the federal rules and regulations, and also our auditors, and really be able to also make sure that we get these projects done, because we only have a 4.5-ish years left to be able to get this, every penny of the money spent. And so for some projects, that'll be easy because they're going to be really straightforward. Other projects are going to be a little bit more complex and will take a little bit more time to be able to get up off the ground. There are a couple of things that, I think will be of interest to the Local Development Corporation. One is there is going to be direct business support that can still be met, you know, does not have a specific manifest on what that's going to look like. We want to be able to still do some additional outreach to our businesses to be able to set up what is the best process for distributing that funding. So it's just under, just over $1 million has been set aside to support job growth, job creation, and kind of business expansion, you know, with a priority on minority and women-owned businesses here in Kingston, and to be able to make sure that, you know, we're helping our Main Street businesses as best we can, you know, deal with both the effects of COVID, but that have really snowballed and, you know, into so many other, you know, issues that have come up, from supply chain issues to staffing issues to inflation issues. And so we think that this funding will hopefully be able to help, you know, kind of keep the forward momentum that we've built over the last couple of years, you know, going forward. So that $1 million, you know, is going to be set aside for that. You know, many of our, you know, businesses we've heard from, many of them is just trying to let people know where they are in the city, and that they exist, and how people can get to and from them, both in their cars, but also on foot or on bicycle. And so there's just over $500,000 set aside for wayfinding. We worked with the council to, you know, kind of economize that, to bring down the cost estimates from about 900,000 to just now over $500,000, to be able to invest in better signage for our business districts and better, you know, directionality from, say, the Thruway and some of the other major gateways, so that people know what's here, just beyond the quick check, right? And so we're excited about, you know, that part of this project. You know, there's lots of infrastructure work and public health projects and parks and recreation, and there's just over $1 million for nonprofit support services as well, because we know our nonprofits really have picked up a lot of the pieces, you know, in terms of those who are most directly impacted from COVID in a variety of ways. And so we hope that that will also create jobs in that sector, and really be able to help, you know, kind of build back up the community as we move forward. So
You're muted, Steve.
Mayor, we lost your video. I mean, your audio.
Sorry.
We lost your audio.
And now we lost him.
forward.
Oh, there he is. We lost a lot.
Got you back. We got you back. Okay.
All right, sorry. So a part of it is also to continue to help improve broadband and Wi-Fi in the city. And so clearly City Hall
Great idea.
needs some help with that this morning. And so actually a part of it is to work with the Kingston Internet. They have a new name now. I think it's the Kingston Community Internet, is to be able to create more public Wi-Fi and public internet along the Broadway corridor, which will help our residents and businesses in this neighborhood. So either way, sorry for the internet issues, but we are excited about the plan. You can actually see the plan at engagekingston.com. It's got all of the details, and you can kind of look a little bit more deeper into some of the different priority projects that were identified. So does anyone have any questions about that before we go on to our next topic?
The state DOT is sort of going to cooperate on the signage program on state roads, or is it just city roads?
Yeah, and so as part of, and so this all stemmed from a county project that we did a few years ago with the county to do a wayfinding plan. So it's all been developed already with all of those partners and stakeholders. And so there's you know, everything is kind of built to the specs that the state would require, and it kind of gives us the process of how to get their approvals. You know, so we're going to have to work. We're going to work very closely with them on, you know, 587 and the Thruway and some of the other, you know, major corridors to the best we can anyway. Yep.
I I just wanted to say, Barbara Hill here. It was great, being new to the council. It was great to have that kind of working relationship with the mayor, to really fine tune, the proposal for how to spend the funding. And I think everybody was very happy about that process, including me. So just wanted to put in a pitch. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, well, thank you, Barbara. Yes, it was really great to be able to, we're very happy with how that process worked out for everybody. So, and just over almost 5 million is going to be going toward supporting housing in Kingston. Because that's one of the things we really heard from our business owners was, we're losing employees because they can't find housing here. And so that's another, huge part of the plan. So one of the things I wanted to mention related to housing, and it's not, we haven't started the review process yet, but we are very shortly. And I do think that at some point, the Kingston Local Development Corporation may be asked to get involved, is that the old King's Inn site on Broadway has been vacant for a really long time. Many mayors have tried to redevelop that site and to find willing partners. To date, we have not been successful. But yet we did put out another RFP process a few months ago to be able to try to find a developer that would be willing to partner with us to be able to redevelop the site into residential housing. And so we're going to be, we did an RFP, we received responses, we're going to review those responses, and we look forward to working with the Common Council to be able to move that property into development stage of its life, or redevelopment stage. And I will hope, and most likely, we as the city and the Common Council will look to work hopefully with the KLDC to help us do that, similar to what we did with the Kingstonian, to be able to help move these properties into the hands of, back into the private world to be able to get redeveloped. And so I'll keep everyone updated. We have worked to, develop an RFP review committee. We've actually asked Hayes to serve on that committee with us. And so we're hopeful, and Alderwoman, who is now our majority leader, Rita Worthington, is also going to be reviewing those proposals with us. So we're trying to get stakeholders from, that are invested in all different branches of government and our organizations to help us. So that is one thing I'll keep everybody updated on, as we move forward, but we were excited to be able to receive proposals back on that. So, and then the last item that I had for our agenda today is related to our annual audit and our auditors. Mandy received a note from our auditors about 3 weeks ago that pretty much halfway through their process, they decided that the KLDC was an organization that they no longer wanted to have as a client, and sent us a note and said that they were letting us go, basically, and that they're happy to help transition us to another auditing firm, but that we basically have gotten involved with more activities than we had previously, which we all know in terms of land development and real estate transactions. And it seems as though that, raised above their level of, based on how much we pay them, I believe, their tolerance level. And so we are quoting new, auditing firms now, and they're due back tomorrow, according to Mandy. And so generally when we select these firms, we have the finance committee of the KLDC will usually meet. They will review them and then bring back to the board a recommendation to be able to select the firm. I will ask that, the finance committee, try to meet as quickly as possible so that we can try to get this firm on board. Our audit is due to this state, like tomorrow, right? And so, we're not going to meet the deadlines that the state puts out, and so we are going to be late because of the audit firms, I believe, late decision to move on from our work, and so again, we have to still get the audit done, and so we are hopeful that it may require us and probably will necessitate the whole board to get back together again for a special meeting to be able to vote to approve, the new contract with the new firm, most likely at a different dollar value, probably higher due to the fact that we need to have it done so quickly to be able to meet not only the state's requirements on us as a public authority, but we're also a component unit of the city of Kingston's audit, and so the city needs the KLDC's audit by the time their report is due in September, and so we really do need to get this all done pretty soon, and so we'll have to have a special meeting. So I just wanted to kind of give everyone an update on that, and we'll hopefully be able to get a good firm that is willing to work with us, in a better, more clear way. So,
Steve, but just to clarify, they're completing the annual audit they're in the middle of right now.
nope, they just stopped halfway through. They decided that they were done, which I've never seen before, and
That's
It-
not
That's not ethical, is it? Is it ethical?
or anything.
I don't know. It's certainly, bad business.
Especially when they got all the information from us and stuff. It's like, they got a lot of information from most of us.
And they're still going to bill us for all the work they did up until the
Well,
point where
that's
they
not right.
decided to stop. So,
Did they give a reason, Steve? I mean, I know you mentioned it, but did they give a
Yeah.
valid reason?
so their letter was just that we've exceeded their risk tolerance, I believe is the wording that they used. But they can set their own tolerance, and I think that they are just something, they've decided to take a different direction. So
Do they do other municipalities?
I don't think so, because I think that there are certain audit firms that work with certain types of agencies and institutions. And I don't believe that this one has a lot of experience with the type of work that, we/municipalities do, because again, our auditor doesn't have any issue with the work that the city does, which is all of the same things that the KLDC does, so it's
I have never, ever heard of an
Yeah,
audit
that's
firm
despicable.
quitting in the middle of an audit engagement like that. That's
Doesn't bode well for them for a reference, I'll tell you that.
BA, did you, I think I saw your hand up.
Oh, Glenn had his hand up.
Oh,
Hey, can you hear me now?
yes, yep.
Thanks. Was the time frame the filing? Are you saying the filing should have been or filed for tomorrow?
Yeah, I think that Mandy can correct me, but I believe that the audit is due May 31st, but I could be wrong. And I don't know if Mandy can actually talk at this point. So, but it is soon, but it's not, we're bringing in a new firm. There's, Mandy, are you?
I am here. Actually, it was due March 30th.
Oh yeah, March 3rd, yeah.
And when did they resign or when did they walk away?
They sent the letter April
First
2nd.
I mean, I feel like
April
there should be
1st,
some recourse.
Friday.
We can pay them.
Minimally, we shouldn't pay them. I mean, they left us, after the deadline. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Could you share the future time, share the letter that you received from the accounting service?
I can. I'm not at a computer right now, but I could certainly send it out to everybody.
Can we apply for an extension? Is that possible with the state?
BA and I spoke with them and they are willing to do an extension for us. So they're in the process of getting that done to us and getting it overnighted so that the mayor can sign it and it can be filed with the state.
That's good.
We had an opportunity to speak with them on Monday morning. The letter was dated Friday, April 1, and Mandy received it essentially Saturday. So it was over the weekend. It was after the fact. And as I said, we spoke with them in a very brief call on Monday morning.
You ever heard of anything like this, BA?
No. They had their reasons. It is very odd because Mandy, as in all years past, has been very diligent about getting her the work documents beginning in January and February. So they, in my opinion, they certainly had ample time to review the documentation. And if they were going to take this course of action at the 11th and a half hour, I have issue with that. As I said, and I think the mayor said same, they could have notified us in February or March, long before April 1st, Friday night type of thing.
Have we spoken to a partner or the leadership of the firm?
Yes. The field auditor was on the telephone call and the partners were also on the phone call at that point in time on Monday morning.
Yeah, so that's the update. We'll definitely send out the letter so that everyone has that. But we did. Mandy immediately worked through the weekend to develop an RFP. That she would be able to solicit to other audit firms, and so she sent that out to 3 or 4, 5, folks, and we really. I appreciate that work, Mandy and BA for, taking, immediate steps to, get the train moving. And, we did have to give them a couple of weeks to be able to respond, but I think they are due back tomorrow. BA.
Okay, if I could, I didn't mean to interrupt. Just to give you a little bit of background on that, as the mayor was saying, the solicitation for professional auditing services, went out on Monday, April 4, after the telephone call. The criteria that were used the last time is the criteria that was put out there for the solicitation letter. And actually, in just a quick update, the proposal due date is actually 3 p.m. April 29. So we do have a little bit of time. As was said, we needed to give the firms time to review the solicitation, put their packages together. As the mayor mentioned, traditionally, the finance committee, which currently consists of Glenn as chair, Eleni and Tony and myself, would be the normal mechanism that the responses would come through. In past, the finance committee would prioritize those, present the positives, negatives to the board for full discussion, and then for a vote. Whether or not that may change at this point, I don't know. That would be a conversation with the mayor, whether the full board. But the finance committee, at least our intent would be to try and narrow it down to, say, the top 2. As the mayor mentioned, the risk tolerance was mentioned, and they were very, very careful to say that other firms may view things differently. It is just how their firm views things. But we are under a little bit of a crunch. So as soon as they do come in, or as soon after the 29th of the month, Finance Committee will be getting together and putting that back out. And as the mayor said, we would certainly need to have a meeting after that, just to make this decision and get whomever the new folks are, get them on the board as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, there is a very good chance the price will be higher, as much because they would have to review certainly the last 12 or 24 months of activity to go backwards to get the 2022 return and statement completed, as well as then begin the contract period going forward. So
Do we have
Give
any
it a heads up.
intention of paying their invoices at this point?
that I suppose is a question, Mandy, the mayor, will have to have, or a conversation. Tony, they did do their field work.
Mm-hmm.
They collected all of the data from the Kingston Local Development Corp, as they do. Our issue, and I think as Steve very succinctly said, kind of at the last minute, at the last date, they shut it down.
I guess my point is I get the fact that they did the field work, but the product is really delivery of the audit tool, the document.
Correct.
I mean, it's not, that's the end, that's the goal line. It's not to do
Correct.
the field work and then never file. So, I mean, I think they're certainly Corporation Counsel needs to take a look at that in terms of performance standards, and I would not be in favor of paying anything at this point.
As I said, that would be more
Well,
conversation
particularly
at executive.
if
and
a
mayor's
new
level.
auditing firm says they can't accept that field work and have to do it all over.
Right, exactly.
Mhm. And that is a possibility. The accounting firm indicated that they would certainly consider requests for the documentation, but whether they turn that documentation over to the new firm is at their discretion.
What's our firm's name again? I'm sorry if I missed it.
Mostert, Manzaro, and Scott, LLP, and they're out of Oneonta.
And they've been with us for how long?
I believe this is going on 5 years now.
Yeah, it's got to be 5 or
I
6
mean,
years.
That's just
I believe it may have
mind-boggling.
been just before the mayor came in and took office on the first time.
It's unreal.
Yeah,
So-
can Mandy or just somebody just, because I started trying to write those 3 words down and
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll send you the letter.
it's in the letter, okay.
Yeah,
They should be
and
called.
their contract, yeah,
Well,
their
I won't forget
information's
that since
on
it's recorded.
I'm on a couple of, I've seen this happening recently. These accounting firms, particularly the regional ones, they're having a hell of a time finding staff too, and they just can't perform some of their client engagements anymore. So I've seen on a couple of nonprofits I'm on a board on where the auditor has basically told us, this is beyond our scope now. We're having problems staffing it. We are intending to resign after this annual audit is
Yeah,
complete.
exactly.
Never heard of a
That's the right
situation
thing to do.
somebody resigned in the middle of an audit.
Or 6 months before saying, hey, we can't complete this assignment. We want to give you ample notice to go and look for somebody. Not the due date. We can't do this. Yeah, it's okay.
All right, well, BA, thank you for that update and clarification. And, we'll definitely keep everybody up. Nobody's happy about this at this point. And so we wanted to give you all an update, and we're taking whatever steps we can to kind of correct the issue. But we'll keep you updated, and the finance committee will. I do think that, as soon as the proposals come in, we'll be sending them your way for review. And ideally you could do that relatively quickly, and we'll get a board meeting scheduled ASAP to kind of get, we may have to amend the budget and, accept the contract. But that's all I had today. Did anyone have any other questions, concerns that they wanted to raise? If not, I appreciate everybody's time, and I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Andy, a second by Lenny. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Well, thank you all very much. It's great to see
Everybody be
everybody.
safe. Have a
We'll
good-
talk soon. Okay.
Take care. Be safe,
Yeah.
everybody.
Good day.
Yeah,
Bye.
bye.
Bye.